Good morning, students. In our last class, we read that how the peddler was frightened and he was disappointed and he was not able to escape from the forest. And then he heard the loud thumping coming from somewhere in the forest, and he recognized that this noise was coming from Ramsjo and Mill. He goes to the direction of the sound, takes a shelter over there in the Ramsjo iron mill, and at that very time the owner of the mill, an iron master, comes over there for inspection. And when he comes, he notices this peddler under the glow of the furnace and was surprised to see him, and he addresses him as Captain Nils Olive and invites him to his private house, to his house. But the peddler said no to him. After half an hour, the ironmaster daughter come along with a valet to invite him and persuade him to come to their home for Christmas Eve. Now let's read the chapter. The stranger had stretched himself out on the floor and lay with a piece of pig iron under his head and his hat pulled down over his eyes. So the stranger was lying on the floor very close to the furnace, and he was using a raw iron under his head as a pillow, and he had placed his hat on the face to on his eyes so that the glow of the furnace does not disturb him at night. As soon as the young girl caught sight of him, she went up and lifted his hat. Now, as the girl notices the peddler very close to the furnace, she goes and lifts the hat from his eyes. The man was evidently used to sleeping with one eye open. He jumped up abruptly and seemed to be quite frightened. Now, this man, that is the peddler, he was a person to have a light sleep. So he was astonished and frightened, and he jumps up quickly, abruptly. "My name is Edla Wilmanson," said the young girl. "My father came home and said that you wanted to sleep here in the forge tonight." So the girl introduces herself that she is Edla Wilmanson, and she says that the father, when he came home, he told me about you, that you wanted to sleep here in the forge, and then I asked permission to come and bring you home to us. She says that how she took permission from her father to come to forge to invite you home for Christmas. "I'm so sorry, Captain, that you are having such a hard time." And then she regrets that the Captain Nils Olive is going through a bad phase of his life. She looked at him compassionately with her heavy eyes, and then she noticed that the man was afraid. Adela looks at the peddler compassionately, sympathetically, and then she notices that the man was afraid, that the man was frightened. Now, for the readers, the man is a peddler, but for Anne Master and Adela, the man is Captain Nils Olive. So, for her, Captain Nils Olive was afraid, frightened. Either he has stolen something or else he has escaped from jail, she thought, and added quickly. Now she wondered why he was frightened. So she thought that might be he has stolen something or might he has escaped jail. So she covered up and says, "You may be sure, Captain, that you will be allowed to leave us just as freely as you came. Only please stay with us over Christmas Eve." So she says that you might take this into confidence, that you would be allowed to leave as just as freely as you come. That is, whenever you feel like going, you are allowed to go, but it is just a request that we wish, that is the father and daughter wish, that you come to us for Christmas celebrations, Christmas Eve. She said this in such a friendly manner that the peddler must have felt confidence in her. So she said this in such a friendly manner that the peddler was altogether amazed and felt confidence and felt that yes, he should be part of the Christmas Eve at the manor house. "It would never have occurred to me that you would bother with me yourself, miss," he said. "I will come at one." So he Edla was able to persuade the peddler, and he readily agreed to be their guest for the Christmas, and he said that he is going to surely come. He accepted the fur coat which the valet handed him with a deep bow, threw it over his rags, and followed the young lady out to the carriage without granting the astonished blacksmith so much as a glance. So he accepted the fur coat from the valet. Valet handed him the fur coat, and um, and then he wore it on the rags, that is on his torn clothes. He wore that fur coat and started following the young lady, that is Edla. He started following to the carriage she came by, and without granting the astonished blacksmith so much as a glance. So the blacksmith was very astonished that the father came and persuaded the person to come home. Then the daughter came, and he was astonished that the person, that is peddler, is leaving, and was leaving ungrateful without giving him a glance or being thankful to for the stay for the night, for the shelter for the night. But while he was riding up to the manor house, he had evil forebodings. Forebodings means pre-thought. So while he was riding in the carriage along with Edla to the house, he had some unpleasant thoughts coming in his mind. Some bad will befall him, he thought of so. Why the devil did I take that fellow's money? He thought. Now I'm sitting in the trap and will never get out of it. And he started thinking, and he felt guilty that how he himself has been trapped. First he stole the money of the old crofter, and now he's heading to a manor house to be the guest of the family for the Christmas. So he's not able to come out of it. The next day was Christmas Eve, and when the ironmaster came into the dining room for breakfast, he probably thought with satisfaction of his old regimental comrade whom he had run across so unexpectedly. So next day was Christmas Eve. So the morning, the father was sitting on the dining room for the breakfast, and he thought that how unexpectedly he came upon his friend, the comrade, the old regimental comrade, that is Captain Nils Olive. First of all, we must see to it that he gets a little flesh on his bones, he said to his daughter, who was busy at the table. So the daughter was laying the breakfast table, and the father tells, the conversation between daughter and father is this. So the father tells to the daughter that we have to make sure that we provide him good food, he becomes healthy. And he says, and then we must see that he gets something else to do than to run around the country selling rat traps. And then, other than taking care of the good health of Captain Nils Olf, they have to make sure that he gets some dignified job to do rather than selling the rat traps in the country. It is queer that things have gone downhill with him so badly as that, said the daughter. So the daughter says to father that it is a strange thing that he has gone through worse period of his time. From Captain Nils Olof, he is into selling rat traps. So it is strange that he is going through a worse period. Last night I did not think there was anything about him to show that he had once been an educated man. So she says that last night when I saw him, there was no evidence to prove that he was an educated man. Why? Because when Edla saw him, she saw that the person is in torn clothes, and he was having beard, and the rat traps were hanging, but rat traps were with him. So it did not show any evidence that he is an educated person. You must have patience, my little girl, said the father. As soon as he gets clean and dressed up, you will see something different. So the father says to daughter that we need to have patience. As soon as he takes a bath, he is in a neat and clean clothes, he will dress up. Then there would be a different person altogether. Last night he was naturally embarrassed. Last night he was very ashamed of his situation, the present situation he is in. The tramp manners will fall away from him like the tramp clothes. So the father says when he is going to get clean, he would be dressed up, the tramp clothes will fall, and along with tramp clothes, that is the torn clothes, the beard and everything, the tramp manners will also go away. Just as he said this, just as he said this, the door opened and the stranger entered. Yes, now he was truly clean and well dressed. So, just as the father and daughter were talking about Captain Nils Olive, the door opens and the stranger comes. Yes, now he was truly clean and well dressed. Now he was neat and clean, well dressed like a gentleman. The valet the valet had bathed him, cut his hair, and shaved him. So the valet got him ready. He bathed him and he made him ready with a shaving and cut his hair. Moreover, he was dressed in a good looking suit of clothes which belonged to the ironmaster, and he was wearing the suit of ironmaster. He was wearing clothes of ironmaster. He wore a white shirt and a starched collar and whole shoes. So the peddler was wearing neat and clean looking clothes. He was wearing white shirt and with starched collar and proper fitting shoes. But although his guest was now so well groomed, the ironmaster did not seem pleased. Now, when the ironmaster noticed Captain Nils Olaf, he was not happy, though he looked neat and clean, well dressed like a gentleman. But the ironmaster was not happy. He looked at him with puckered brow, and it was easy to understand that when he had seen the strange fellow in the uncertain reflection from the furnace, he might have made a mistake. So now, when he saw the person in the broad daylight, he was astonished, he was amazed. He looked at him with puckered brow, that is, he looked at him with a stretched brow, wrinkled brow. It was easy to understand that when he had seen the strange fellow in the uncertain reflection from the furnace, he might have made a mistake. He realized, the ironmaster realized his mistake, that at the night time, in the uncertain light, in the uncertain glow of the furnace, he made a mistake with the person. But that now, when he stood there in broad daylight, it was impossible to mistake him for an old acquaintance. But now, when he sees the person in the broad daylight in the morning hours, and when the person has taken a bath, he had cleaned his shave, he has done a shaving, he has cut the hairs are cut, he recognized that this person is not my old acquaintance, my known, that is the old regimental fellow. He is not my friend. He can understand I have made a mistake. What does this mean? He thundered. So he got up and shouted, what does this mean? The stranger made no attempt to dissimulate. He saw at once that the splendor had come to an end. Now, the stranger, the peddler, he did not try to pretend anything, he did not try to hide his feelings. He saw at once that the splendor had come to an end. He knew that this impressive appearance, everything has come to an end. It is not my fault, sir, he said. I never pretended to be anything but a poor trader. So he says, it's not my mistake at all. I just not pretended anything. I had my rat traps in front of you. I am a trader, you can see one, and I was in my rags. And I pleaded and begged to be allowed to stay in the forge. And time and again I requested, I begged that I want to be in a forge for the night. I was there for the shelter in the forge. But no harm has been done. But I did not cause you, your family members, any harm. I did not steal anything. I did not took anything. I have not harmed you in any way. At worst, I can put on my rags again and go away. So the thing would be, what I can do is I come to my original thing, that is I can wear my own rags, that is the torn clothes, and leave your place. Well, said the ironmaster, hesitating a little. Now he realized that yes, the peddler did not agree to come. It was they who were persuading him to come to their house. it was not quite honest either. But then he says that it was not even honest altogether. You must admit that, you have to admit, and I should not be surprised if the sheriff would like to have something to say in this matter. So he says, I would not be surprised if the sheriff is a person who maintains the law and order. So I would really like to know the opinion of the sheriff. That is, let's talk to the sheriff. I will call the police and I would hand over the matter to him. The tramp took a step forward and struck the table with his fist. Now, the tramp, he was being honest, telling that I pleaded, I want to stay in the forge. So, when he heard that the sheriff would be called, he came forward and beat the table with the fist. Now, I'm going to tell you, Mr. Ironmaster, how things are, he said. Now, he says that I will tell you how things run in this world, how this world runs. This whole world is nothing but a big rat trap. So he gives his philosophy of the world, the parallel that he has drawn, the metaphor the author has given to us, the world being a rat trap. So he says this to Ironmaster, that this whole world is a big rat trap, a huge rat trap. All the good things that are offered to you are nothing but the cheese rinds and bits of pork set out to drag a poor fellow into trouble. So he says that all the good things, the luxuries the world offers, the luxuries of riches, of joys, of happiness, of food, of clothing, of shelter, these all are nothing but baits. That is, cheese rinds and bits of pork are baits, and they are set out to drag, that is, to allure, to attract a poor fellow like the vagabond, like the peddler, into trouble. And this is the reason that he put himself into trouble. And if the sheriff comes now and locks me up for this, then you, Mr. Ironmaster, must remember that a day may come when you yourself may want to get a big piece of pork, and then you will get caught in the trap. Now, this peddler, he says, he beats his hand on the table and says to sheriff that if he comes now and locks me up, that is, put me behind the bars in prison, then Mr. Ironmaster, you must remember a day may come when you yourself may want to get a big piece of pork. That is, it might happen that in your life you are attracted to a bait. This pork is what? This is a bait. You get allured to something in your life, and then you will get caught in the trap, and then you will also be trapped like he fall into the trap of coming to the manor house as a guest. So he says you might also be attracted to something and you might get trapped. The ironmaster began to laugh. He started laughing, listening to the ideology of the peddler. That was not so badly said, my good fellow. So he says, whatever you said, that was not wrong. That might be the reality of most of the people, that they get attracted to things around and they are trapped. Perhaps we should let the sheriff alone on Christmas Eve. So let sheriff enjoy Christmas with his family, but now get out of here as fast as you can. So leave my house at once. Immediately leave my house. He says this to the peddler. But just as the man was opening the door, the daughter said, I think he ought to stay with us today. I don't want him to go. So as Ironmaster opened the door for the peddler to leave the place, the daughter comes forward and she says that I do not think that this person, this stranger, should go. I don't want this man to go from our place. And with that she went and closed the door. She goes and closes the door. What in the world are you doing? Said the father. Now father was very amazed what the daughter wants, why she stops this person from going. He should leave the house immediately. So why the daughter interrupted and said not to leave? The daughter stood there quite embarrassed and hardly knew what to answer. Now the daughter was ashamed. She did not know what to answer to his father, to her father. So That morning she had felt so happy when she thought how homelike and Christmassy she was going to make things for the poor, hungry, rich, miserable person. So by morning she was making plans for Captain Nils Olof, that she is going to provide this Captain Nils Olof a home-like environment. She is going to make a beautiful Christmas for the Christmas day, beautiful for this person, for this poor person who has gone downhill, whose circumstances had gone so bad that from a regimental comrade he is into rags. So she was making plans for the beautiful day. She could not get away from the idea all at once. So she could not come out of that idea, the planning she has been doing for Captain Nils Olof. And that was why she had interceded for the vagabond. And this is the reason that she intervened for the person, the vagabond. Now the reality has come into light that the person is not Captain Nils Olof, it is a vagabond. He is a vagabond, he is a peddler. I'm thinking of this stranger here, said the young girl. He walks and walks the whole year long, and there is probably not a single place in the whole country. So she says that I was thinking of this stranger over here, this man over here, and this person moves from one place to another for year long. From one place to another, this person is going from places throughout the year, begging, stealing, looking for things in the fields for his rat trap. And there is probably not a single place in the whole country where he is welcome, and there is no place in the country where any person might be welcoming him to their home, to their place, and can feel at home, and where he could feel home feels safe. Wherever he turns, he is chased away. So wherever he goes, he is forced to go away from that place. People shoo him that go away from this place. Always he is afraid of being arrested and cross-examined. So Edla says to father that such people, a vagabond, a tramp who moves from one place to another, who is poor, who is homeless, who is in rags, such people are always afraid and frightened that if anything goes wrong in society, he would be the first person to get arrested or cross examined for the same. I should like to have him enjoy a day of peace with us here, just one in the whole year. So she says, I wish and I desire that this man, this stranger, enjoys one day of peace over here in our house. And it is just one day, and this one day is the Christmas day. So he also deserves one day of peace and happiness in his life. The ironmaster mumbled something in his beard. So ironmaster muttered something that was not audible. He could not bring himself to oppose her, so he could not get words. He was lack of vocabulary to think of opposing her daughter, to stand against her daughter. It was all a mistake, of course, she continued. So she said, yes, it was a mistake on the part of the father and daughter to consider this man as Captain Nils Olof. But, anyways, I don't think we ought to chase away a human being whom we have asked to come here. So he says that, but then it is not going to be right to ask this person to drive away this person from our home, to drive away this human being from our home, to whom we have welcomed as a guest and to whom we have promised Christmas Day. And we asked him that we want him to be our guest for Christmas, and we made promises for Christmas. So I do not think this would be appropriate or right to ask him to leave. You do preach worse than a parson, said the ironmaster. Ironmaster says that your preaching is worse than a parson. That is, the persuasion power are more than the parson. Parson does what? Any parson, any religious guru does what? He teaches us goodness. But then the goodness of Adla is that knowing the reality of the stranger, she still wants the persons to stay for the Christmas. I only hope you won't have to regret this. So the father says, I wish that you do not feel sorry or ashamed of your decision to make him stay in the house. The young girl took the stranger by the hand and led him to the table. So she holds the hand of the person and asks him to sit for the breakfast. Now sit down and eat, she said, for she could see that her father had given in. So she asked him that sit for the breakfast and eat. Because she knew that the father had agreed to her decision to let the person stay for the Christmas. The man with the rat trap said not a word. He only sat down and helped himself to the food. Now, the person, the rat trap seller, he was quiet. He started eating food. Time and again, he looked at the young girl who had interceded for him. So, he was just noticing the girl that had interrupted and pleaded in favor of the person, the stranger, to stay back for Christmas. Why had she done it? What was the reason? What was the purpose behind her, behind Adla, to make him stay? What could the crazy idea be? What is the plans that Adla have for him for the Christmas, or what might be the crazy idea that knowing that he is a stranger, still she asked him to stay? Though as readers we understood the idea of Adler is that it was Christmas, they have invited him, they have asked him to be their guest for the Christmas, and she desired that the person deserves one day in a year, one day in the whole year, a day of peace, a day of happiness, a day where he could feel like home, like he gets a home like environment.